There's a church in the valley by the wildwood, no lovelier place in the dale. No spot is so dear to my childhood as the little brown church in the vale.
Well, thank you all for having me today, and thank you all for coming. This is my favorite time of year. I love September through December. I love the cold weather, I love the snow. But I also love what I call the time of reflection. And what that means basically is I think about what the past year has brought to me. I believe that we all come to this life to learn certain lessons. So I think about that, and I think about what have I learned, what have I not learned? Have I walked the walk and talked the talk? What have I screwed up? What do I need to work on? And when I was thinking about what I wanted to talk about today, I thought it might be interesting to perhaps share some of the lessons that I've had to learn and that I'm still working on, because many of you may be going through the same thing yourself. I'd have to say that probably the hardest lesson for me in this life has been what I call expectations of others. And I'll illustrate that by telling you all a little story. Years ago, there was a woman, we'll call her Ann, and Ann and I were really good friends. We did everything together. She had a small business and I helped her with it, and we constantly got together. And this went on for a few years, and then all of a sudden she changed. And she started treating me what I wouldn't consider a friend treating another friend. And it left me very hurt. And it left me devastated because I didn't understand what was going on. Now, there was another woman who knew the two of us, had known Ann a lot longer than I. And she called me over one day and she says, "You know, Betty, have you ever realized that with the exception of you, Ann has no friends?" And I thought, that's crazy. How can a person not have a friend? Well, when I looked at that, I realized, my God, she doesn't have friends. I really am the only person that she hangs with. And that's when I had what I call an aha moment. And the lesson in that was expectations of others. And what that basically means is I was putting my interpretation of what a friendship is on her. Because I can tell you right now, I am so blessed in this life to have the friends that I have. Two of them are here today, Bob and Nancy. I happen to have a set of friends that I've known them for 60 years. I mean, that's a long, long friendship. So I know what friendship is. And I was placing that interpretation on her. And I realized I had no right to do that. She hasn't had my life experiences. I haven't had hers. I know what a friend is. Maybe she doesn't. And we're all guilty of that, if you think about it. You know, you have people that come into your life that do things that may not make any sense to you because you wouldn't do it. But that doesn't mean that they have the same level of understanding or comprehension or compassion that you do. Which then led me to the next lesson. Let me grab some water here. Well, of course, being the curious person that I am, I had to figure this out. I have to figure things out. So I had to figure out, okay, why does this person not have friends? So I started digging and I started asking, and it turns out that Ann had had a difficult childhood. She had a distant father, and her mother was tough, and we're talking tough. She was one of those women that was never happy, always found fault. And from a very early age, she actually told her daughter, no matter what you do in life, you're going to be a failure. So can you imagine growing up with that thought process that you're going to be a failure no matter what? And when I understood that, I learned the lesson of looking at the bigger picture. I took a step back and I looked at her in the context of her entire life. And when you do that, it helps you understand why people act the way they act. It doesn't mean you condone the behavior, but it helps you understand them. Because in that moment, I understood To Anne, a friendship was someone who could help me realize my goal of proving to my mother that I wasn't a failure. That was her whole thing in life, was to prove to her mother that she wasn't a failure. The sad part is that her mother had died several years before, but she still had this obsession. And it wasn't now only to prove to her dead mother that she wasn't a failure, it was to prove to the world, to prove to herself that she wasn't a failure. And people became her instrument. How can you help me realize my goal? Which then led me to the next lesson. Now this one took me a long time to wrap my head around. And it's kind of weird, so I'm just asking you to bear with me when I talk to you about this, because you may think this is weird too. But Anne hurt me deeply. But I'm grateful to her for that. Because if she had not done those things, I never would have learned the lesson of looking at the bigger picture, of stop having expectations of others according to what I think it should be. I know that everybody in this room has somebody in their life, whether it's a friend, a workmate, a family member, somebody that really knows how to push your buttons, right? Those people are actually helping you because they're showing you that there's a button in you that needs to be healed. You can't heal them, but you can heal yourself. You can remove that button because they show you that there is one there. And sometimes you don't even know there's one until somebody goes and does something that leaves you devastated. Now I can tell you from personal experience that when you sit and you do the work and you heal that button, you feel so much better because you have removed that weight from your shoulders. And you will know that you've healed when the same situation happens again. And you don't feel the same way. You're okay with it. Because maybe you've looked at the bigger picture. Maybe you've realized, okay, this person is reacting the way they are because of things that had happened to them. So in a few weeks, we're all going to be sitting down for Thanksgiving, hopefully with friends, family, maybe both. And when you sit there and you look at the people at that table, there might be that one person that really pushes your buttons. Be grateful for them, because those are the ones that help you grow. Those are the ones that help you walk the walk and talk the talk. Those are the ones that help you heal. And when you heal yourself, you do end up healing others. And I will leave you with that today. Thank you.
Thank you.